The messages. Now it's your turn. Let's have questions from the audience. Steve?
How long did I have?
There are no cards.
Well, we would like you to be, do you have cards you want to turn in?
I'd like to read. I thought we were going to...
Okay, you can read it. You can read the card.
We don't have
I'll just ask it very quickly. It's a question. Act 2, specifically. Why hasn't, and when will debate, conversation, whatever we're going to call it, regarding vouchers in Louisiana, not scholarships, they're vouchers, in Louisiana, be an informed debate, not an ideological argument, which means using the data that we have from the 2008-2011 piloting in New Orleans, which didn't happen during the session. And the final second part, and this is it, now shut up. Why is it policy smart and consistent with the direction the state wants to go in the removal of certification requirements in our charter schools?
Say the second one again, Steve.
Act 2
No, the second
strikes, the second part, Act 2 strikes all requirements regarding certification in Charter 5s or any other charter, which was a pivot piece that I heard Superintendent John White say that the Credo study said we were doing well at the last vestibular meeting in the charters compared to the rest of the country. Well, that also hinged on the requirements for certification and the rest. We struck that last session. No requirement for certification in those schools.
Do you want to answer this one? On the first one, I'm glad to have a discussion in regard to the results. Now, here's the results that are most important to me are the conversations I have with the parents who are using the vouchers. Now, they're the customer, and I would start with including them in that discussion. So we can roll out the numbers all you want and study it, but I think the critical factor at the end of the day is, do we believe in the idea that a parent should have a choice on where they send their child to school? Okay, that should be part of the debate, Steve. The second question on the certification in charter schools, I supported getting rid of that standard. Charter, one thing that we're doing differently with charters, charters were originally to be different. And every time we pass a law now, we end up including charters that if we do this in a traditional school, we need to do this in a charter school. I wouldn't recommend a charter school hiring all non-certified staff, but I do support them making those decisions at their school level because they are held accountable more so than any other school for the ultimate results. If a charter school in this state doesn't reach their benchmarks in their third year, by their third year, we can close their door. So it's a fairly high standard of accountability. And if I'm going to give them that kind of accountability, I want to give them the freedom to make choices on how to run their own school. Now, I wouldn't want to run a business and have me tell you how to run it, but I'm going to hold you accountable for it. Now, what we do with charter schools is say we're going to hold you accountable for the results, but we're going to give you more freedom on how you run your school.
Diane, did you have anything you want to say?
Well, I just don't think that schools ought to be run like businesses. They're not businesses. And first of all, because the measure is wrong, the testing is, as I said before, these tests are far from perfect. Some of them are really bad tests. And if a child spends 12 years picking the right answer, they are not going to be well equipped for the 21st century. They are going to be told that innovation and creativity and critical thinking are wrong because you are going to get the wrong answer. Those children spend their lives trying to figure out what do the test makers want me to answer. That's about, we're preparing factory workers for the early 20th century. That's wrong. And I want to tell you something about Louisiana because I was looking at the NAEP scores last night before I packed up to come here. Louisiana NAEP scores have been pretty flat in reading. They have been gone up dramatically in mathematics over the past 20 years, dramatically. Louisiana's probably made more progress in math than most other states in the country. Why is the difference? It's because, and this is found in every state, Reading reflects the home life far more than math. Math is what you learn in school. Reading is what you get more at home because of the vocabulary you hear and the amount of knowledge you're surrounded with, the books and so forth. And so what you're seeing in the reading is a reflection of the high level of child poverty in the state. Now, I understand your policymakers say we're not in the business of fixing poverty, but guess what the #1 predictor of test scores is in the world, not just in the United States, it's child poverty. And the U.S. has one distinction. We're #1 in the world in child poverty. I'm talking about the advanced nations, the ones that we compare ourselves to. We compare ourselves to Finland. Less than 5% of the kids there live in poverty, almost 25% of the children in the U.S. Now, you can bet if it's almost 25% of the kids in the U.S. are living in poverty, it's way more than 25% in the state of Louisiana. So you're dealing with huge issues that your kids bring to school. And I want to say something also about these international comparisons. Don't believe this nonsense that we're number 19. That's ridiculous. First of all, forgive me, I know I'm taking too much time, but I have to tell you this. The first international test was given in 1964. It was a test of mathematics. 12 nations competed. There were 2 different grades. We came in 12th out of 12 in one grade. We came in 11th out of 12 in the other grade. And in the ensuing 50 years, we have beaten every single one of the other 11 nations. The test scores didn't mean anything about economic growth or the economic future or military might or technological innovation. We beat every single one of the other 11 nations. Now, but we're still, nonetheless, we're doing far better than 19th. We're not 19th in the world. There was a test just came out a couple of months ago, the TIMSS test, the Third International Math and Science Survey. In 4th grade mathematics, American students outperform most of the other 57 education systems. We were tied with Finland, the #1 country in the world. We were tied with Finland, with Denmark, the Netherlands, England, Russia. The only countries that outperformed us were Korea, Singapore, and Japan, which are test obsessed. And I'm not concerned about us being invaded by Korea, Singapore, or Japan. In 8th grade mathematics, U.S. students were tied with Israel, Finland, Australia, Hungary, Slovenia, Lithuania, England. The only nations to outperform us were Singapore, Japan, and Korea. In 4th grade science, Americans ranked in the top 10 systems that of the 57 that took the test. In 8th grade science, only 6 countries outperformed us. So when you hear these numbers being thrown around by Michelle Reed, don't believe it, not true.